Welcome. Welcome to another great episode of Transformed and Renewed. This is your first time checking out our page. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button that way you can stay up to date with the latest content that we have. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. If you're returning, drop some love. I would appreciate that. And it's good to see you, family. And so today we got a great topic. Going to be talking about how you can stay on track around the holidays. And I know that Christmas is a few days away, and then a week away from Christmas, you have New Year's Day. And so when it comes down to a lot of these festive holidays, there's a lot of celebration going on, especially to celebrate the end of the whole year and to introduce a whole new year. And one of the things that I find interesting is a lot of people have what they call goals. Sometimes you may call them New Year's resolutions, where you pretty much set a goal to where I'm not going to eat certain things, or I'm going to actually start working out. I'm going to renew my gym plan, even though I let it lapse for the past couple of months. And so many different goals that you have. But one thing I realized is that when it comes to food, it can be a blurry line because you have so many snacks and treats, sweets, and people may say, "Hey, I got this from this country," or "I just picked this up. I want you to try this." And so when you really think about it, you're trying so many different foods, and if you don't really have a plan, then if your health goal is to lose weight or to manage your nutrition, you will find yourself really battling because you haven't really implemented a plan to avoid eating some of these rich foods. And again, they can be very tasty, on your palate. But one thing I'm always concerned with, or I keep a keen awareness to, is what does food do once it's ingested in your body over time? Certain foods that you may consume. And so this is where I really want to help because again, I know it's people who may say, I go through the same cycles. I try to lose weight, I can't lose weight, and it seems like food is just my problem. But to be honest, food is not your problem because, after all, we need food to survive. But I would say it's more than one type of food. Okay, so that means that the donuts you see is not the end of food. You do have vegetables. So when it comes to a lot of sweets and holiday foods, or just different dinners or parties, how do you really stay on track? Do you really have a plan? Because believe it or not, when you really have a plan, then some of the things that you struggle with, it won't seem that big of an issue. So one of the things that I do recommend is drinking plenty of water, okay? So you want to make sure you stay hydrated. I know sometimes a lot of sugary drinks, even sparkling juice, may seem pretty appetizing, and nothing wrong with having a sip of juice, every now and then. But when you are really trying to stay on track, it's important that you really flush your system with water. One, this is going to help get rid of any toxins in your body, and it's also helping to keep your body hydrated because if you haven't really thought about it, you use water for pretty much a lot of things. One is for your palate to keep saliva in your mouth, for your eyes. So if you didn't have a lot of water, your eyeballs would be very dry. Okay, even from like your blood flow in your body, when you have water, it allows for transport of different nutrients throughout your body, different blood cells flowing in and out throughout your body, oxygen. And so water has a tremendous purpose when it comes to your body. So do not neglect to get enough water. I know that there have been different recommendations on water intake, depending on your physical activity level, as well as, your goals. If you are an athlete or if you pretty much have a desk job, it can depend on how much water you may need. But I would say always get at least 4 to 8 cups a day. And again, this can vary just depending on how active you are. But as long as you're getting that water in, it's helping to flush your body out, it's keeping you hydrated, and it's also helping with daily processes that your body depends on. So don't forget that. Another thing is, ensuring that you stick to a nutrition plan, okay? So you may say, well, I have to go to this holiday party and it's going to be a lot of food there. And to be honest, I want to try some of this food. Well, you could try it, but you also want to be aware of the menu. So the menu has a lot of heavy hors d'oeuvres or appetizers. You want to avoid that or at least limit how much you get in terms of portion sizes. You want to think, okay, vegetables. Let me get these vegetables because believe it or not, you can eat as much vegetables as you want. And just to do a comparison, if you had a sweet, so let's say it was a cookie. Cookie may be 200 calories, because it has a lot of added sugar. But if you were to take vegetables, on the other hand, you could pretty much have a bowl or two of vegetables and you would still be under 200 calories. So that's what I mean by you can pretty much eat up vegetables because these are going to be nutritious and they are giving your body what it needs to, pretty much continue to carry out the daily processes. So don't forget them vegetables. Make sure you get those vegetables, okay? And fruit, okay? Make sure you get them. And again, when it comes to a lot of, foods that can be very comforting, can't stop you from eating them. But if you want to stay on track, it's important that you minimize how often you eat these foods. Minimize it. Okay, it's not gonna do anything. If there's nothing but added sugar, fat, then that's pretty much what your body is getting. No other nutrients. It has no, real purpose for your body when you really think about it. So again, when you really think about it, just think from a perspective of, is this food really helping me with my goals, or is it going to set me back? Because if I have to stay on the treadmill an extra 10 minutes a day in order to get the weight off, then it's really important for you to consider, is this really worth it or not? And sometimes I actually do that with myself because I really think, is this really worth it? And I'm like, no, it's not really. And that helps me to really just take in some wise counsel, just really, understanding it from that perspective. So again, these are just questions that can really help you to stay on track. Another thing along that line is portion size. So making sure that you don't get a big plate because sometimes when we see a lot of food and it looks so tasty, especially when it's kind of like an open for all, then sometimes our eyes get bigger than we can actually eat. And when it comes down to that, I want to start small. And I know for some people they like, I don't really want to do that. I just want to eat what I want to eat. But this is really helping you to tame or to really control yourself because once you really start practicing these small steps, it helps you when it comes to other, scenarios, okay? So that you don't just go out and eat whatever and then you start to feel guilty about it. No. So at least implement this smaller plate and then really kind of survey the food and really understand, okay, what is going to be the most nutritious, the foods that I need, and then kind of work your way down that way. Okay, so if I see broccoli on this platter out of all the other foods or some greens or even like vegetables, bell peppers, let me select those first and then let me work my way towards, fruit or any carbs such as whole grain brown rice or just whole grain rice. Let me work my way that way to really think mindfully, okay? Because implementing these small steps is really going to help you in the long term, okay? And so you always want to just take an approach of, okay, could I eat better? What are healthier options or what are healthier selections, okay? And then when it comes down to it, I know one area that can be a weakness for most people is sweets. When you start seeing so many cookies and pies and people want you to just take a little sample. I hate to tell you that, but sometimes the smallest sample can add so much calories, onto your plate. And I don't think nobody wants that. So a way that you can really avoid that is really by looking at, okay, if I do have to have a sweet, let me just limit to one sweet and that's it. Okay. And this is all about really having some control, okay? Because when it comes down to staying on track with your health, you want to make sure that you have some parameters in place. Now, I'm not encouraging you to do anything. The only thing I am telling you is if you do decide to go with A or B, always realize that there are healthier alternatives with with whatever decision you choose, okay? And these are things that I've had to do. So I'm not going to tell you anything that I haven't done. When it comes to the water, I do that. I drink it. When it comes to, selecting vegetables, hey, I do that too. I have witnesses who see me do it. When it comes to using smaller plates, based on my nutrition, I know smaller plates may not really be feasible for me based on my nutrition, but if I was consuming a third or less calories, or third or more less calories than I consume right now, I would use the small plate. But I have found it helpful in different situations. So again, I'm recommending things to you that I have done, and perhaps it could help you, especially if you say, hey, I really want to go into this year or really this holiday season, I ain't trying to eat no sweets. I'm not trying to get off track. I'm really trying to stay focused. And these are just some tips to really help you. Um, some other tips are, when it comes to a lot of meats, one thing that I've heard people say often that that can be false is when you see meat, you just see protein. And what I'm going to say is the meat that you see is not all protein. It could be mostly fat. Unfortunately, you could be fooled by, what your eyes may say, oh, this is I get a lot of protein if I eat this meat. Actually, you could get more fat and salt than protein. And I've actually seen this on various labels. One for instance is bacon. Sometimes you may think, well, I'm eating, a lot of meat. Well, not really. You could be eating more fat and salt than you are getting protein. So better alternatives are just leaner sources. Thinking, I want to say 90% or higher. Usually for me, 93% is like a minimum in terms of leanness, and anything higher, hey, we're in the range. Typically, I even go for 98 or 99% of leanness. And when you go that route, you can avoid getting a lot of the extra fat that may not be needed, and you're focusing on protein. Again, you can also get protein from vegetables, from different sources of complex carbs. So when you think like uh, sweet potatoes, even brown rice, different pastas, if they're whole grain, even quinoa, beans, when we think about them, lentils, these are also going to be excellent sources of protein, other than meat. So when you think about eating at dinners or different gatherings, or even if people try to offer you sweets, you just want to keep some of these things in mind, because again, when you have goals that you're really trying to meet, it's important that you really, really have this game plan in mind. And I will tell you that when you really stick to this game plan, you will see some tremendous results. Okay, so hope that you receive this information well, and if it applies to you, I greatly appreciate it. And if not, then please let me know your feedback, because I really do want to provide the feed or the tools that can really help you. So I really do appreciate your feedback. Make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to our page at Robody1212. Again, subscribe at Robody1212. We are just going to continue to share some amazing content with you, and be looking forward to some content that you haven't seen before, because we're always going to turn it up, take it up a notch. And again, I appreciate your support. So if I don't get the chance to talk with you, converse with you before the Christmas day or even New Year's Day, I hope that you have a blessed, safe holiday. Don't knock nobody over if you have to go Christmas shopping. Let's love one another. Let's not get into any brawls. Let's show some love. Let's think about the Lord, his life for us. And so, if we can keep that in mind, hey family, you are going in the right direction. So till next time, I hope that you have a blessed, safe holiday season, and I will talk with you next time. Okay.